I met a Gypsy.
We were in the era when you could get million view videos and you could reach like a crazy audience, you know, like if that kept going and compounded, like you see what the Deegans have built.
Yeah.
And it was like years before, you know, those guys
I literally watched the Deegan thing unfold. Like the kid grew up with cameras around.
So they knew that,
All
like
time.
how powerful that strategy was, you know?
Like I said, Brian's very smart. He built the brand, he knew what he was doing. And, you know, at one point I remember thinking, you know, I don't know if Haiden, with all this distraction, can he be a real guy when it counts the most when he's pro? And it wasn't long after that I realized, because he's been subjected to camera in his face every step of the way, that's what's normal for him. So it wasn't a distraction. It was just part of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they did it so early and so evenly across his, you know, ramp up through amateur racing, I mean, that was, I mean, very, very smart. And it played into, you know, who he is now, where, you know, there's a lot of people who think that riders who have everything handed to them aren't tough enough. Well, I mean, obviously Haiden is the exception to that, and that kind of curves that whole. So there's exceptions, right? He had everything he needed his whole life, and still the desire to win is like, I mean, right now he's probably got that one of the highest desires to win, you know? So it didn't matter that he had everything given to him and had the easy life. He was willing to work hard and get it done.
So you could see that in him even back then?
Yeah, like I said, I had those moments where I was like, is he going to be too distracted? But then in the end of the day, I was like, I think he's just so used to it, it doesn't matter. And then, like, realistically, you look back, he was on Supermini, killed it his Supermini year for us, and he's getting all these offers to ride a 250F, big offers, and we're in there, you know, we're fighting. I mean, till the final day, I almost had him to stay, and nobody even seen him race a 250F yet. Or, I mean, yeah, he jumped on his dad's bike, you know, rode a 450,
yeah,
ridden plenty of 250s, but like it's always different when you got to race it.
When you're racing.
So there's still a question mark, but I mean, he's since then answered all those questions.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thinking in a way, because you get desensitized over time. Like, I even remember how much more sensitive I was at the start of the podcast to any criticism and negativity, and you'd like want to defend yourself, and like you had that, like that is distracting. Yep. And there's a period of time where you're very distracted by that, but then over time it just literally,
like, you probably don't even look anymore, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I look, but I can laugh. Like, it would be very, very hard for someone to like actually affect. You know what I mean? Because like, you just get so used to processing the whole thing, like what it is. And that's literally where Hayden's at, where it's all noise. It's all just this weird thing that you've had to deal with. And you can see it affect other riders. Like, I would definitely think, you know, if you play the other superstars in the sport, like the Chasers, the Jets, like those guys, I feel like do get affected by whether it's the media, whether it's the fans, like, and it's natural to be affected by it. I think it takes you to your end of your career to be like, like you get used to it. But he kind of started with that reaction.
Well, you got to overcome it, right? Like, you have to figure out a way to overcome it. And, you know, not everyone can get past that as easy. You know, I think part of the recipe for being a champion is you're a little bit selfish, you know, you're a little bit self-absorbed, and that's just part of what it takes to make up the champion. And some guys can let it roll off, you know, naturally. And then some guys, it really gets in there, and then it starts to imprint on your brain, like, you know, this guy does this every time he's in this position, so just expect it. And then you start subconsciously thinking that, and then you end up doing exactly what your greatest fear. Yes,
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you struggle with being selfish because you're one of the nicest, most unselfish people I know.
Probably why I didn't win enough.
I was just thinking. When you said that, I'm like, were you not selfish enough to be?
I mean, I for sure had my moments, and the people probably closest to me felt it more than anyone else. But I really never, I wasn't brought up that way. Never was super self-absorbed. I don't care about the spotlight. That's why I don't do these things as much, But ultimately, I think I kind of skated on the, just being normal.
Just you were like kind of on the edge.
Yeah. Had a little bit of that me, but at the end of the day, racing wasn't the biggest thing in my life. It was God first and then family, So it was easy for me to put it in perspective. And there was a moment early on in my career where I had it too heavy on me and had to kind of get past that. So I'd take a little pressure.
In what way?
Just wanting to win, wanting to be successful, and thinking that was the only thing in life that mattered. And ultimately, my faith is what kind of got me over that hump. And once that happened, I was able to do more at the races of what I was capable of. Before that, I think I was kind of good in practice sometimes, and okay at the race, and usually something would cause me to crash, or something would happen where I wouldn't get to the point where I felt like I could.
Yeah.
And once I kind of let go of that and put everything in perspective, then started doing better and started winning, got a championship.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.